Thank you everybody for joining. We're going to get started. So to start, Lonnie and our company is Irys, and our product and solution is really around operational data management, and we're targeting industrial sector. So that means enterprise level deployments in terms of security, scale, and really targeting large audiences. So our product is a visualization product and also kind of data management, contextualizing data. Right screen. Okay. So our agenda for today, I will be giving a demo showing our product Irys and Irys Frame. And after that, we'll be talking about updates on progress. So we've been running a beta for the last month. Then we're going to talk about what's up and coming, what we're working on, what you can expect in the near future, and then open it up to some questions. So me and Lonnie presenting. So my name is Sean Ely, co-founder of Irys. Lonnie, go ahead.
Yeah, my name's Lonnie Bowling. I think I met most of you here at some point or another. Also, a co-founder of Irys. Sean's the business guy, and I'm the technical guy. So it's kind of how we the hats we wear. But we both are technical and business oriented too in some ways. So we work together pretty well. But yeah, that's probably good enough for my introduction.
Okay, let me jump into the demo. Okay, let me start by signing out. So we have added kind of end-to-end security. So signing in, a sign-in page, kind of user a sign-in workflow, and it is capable of interfacing or working with customer Active Directory or Azure Entra ID. So fully secure, that's one of the big updates we've done recently. So now that I'm logged in, what we're looking at is Irys. It's our core product. It's a visualization platform. And so this data is live data. Let me disable design. And so the intent of Irys is that data should be easily accessible and visible to everyone within enterprise and organization. So the navigation should be easy and intuitive. It's like going to just a normal website. You can scroll around, but it's live data for your company, live operational data. And so this data is using live data from our Pi system we have installed. Here you see a kind of list of the portfolio. We've got these assets here, some active power. So it's simulated data based on real locations. So if I look down at this directory, let's get that to load real quick. Okay. So we've got a number of project locations in a number of states in the US and also Quebec. And they've got some capacity readings. So this is kind of contextual data that we've added. And if I go back here.
Yeah, it's doing that thing that you're seeing there is something that I'm kind of working on how the data refreshes within it when it first loads, and it just isn't quite done yet. But that's going to get fixed this week. Anyway,
Yeah,
just to note.
Yeah, and so we've got these are actual kind of wind measurements for these locations, some simulated active power, and you've got these kind of spark trend lines. And then we've got some projects listed here. You'll notice with this data, it's very quick, very snappy in updating. Lonnie has done some fantastic work in this back end and getting data from the Pi system. So that's kind of the end product, is this visualization product. There's a number of kind of components that I'm not showing in this demo, and then we'll continue to add more to that. But I think the more interesting thing is how it's set up. And so everything here is fully configured. And so if I go to our product frame, this is the configuration that you set up this website for. And so there's two kind of components to this configuration. There's the modeling of your kind of assets, your asset model, and how the data is kind of contextualized. And then there's the modeling and configuration of the kind of the view, the dashboards. So if I jump into the asset model, here we have this list, and these are our projects. But if I expand one of them Here I have this project named Alta. It's got these tags, project and wind, and it's got some fields associated with it. So here you'll see wind, active power, number of things. If I expand one of these, wind, you'll see it's the current reading is 12.4 meters per second. It is a pi point. Here's the name of the pi point, and here's some units, precisions, and type. So
I just noticed the styling is really jacked up on that drop down.
yeah, it's a Safari.
Oh, it's Safari. Okay, I was like,
Yeah,
I have
it's a
not seen that
Safari
before.
user. Yeah.
Okay, great. Good to know. I'll have to fix that. That's annoying.
Okay.
It looks cool, but it doesn't look right.
Okay. And so the way this asset is created is you can either kind of manually put it together or you can use tags as templates. And we take a composition approach. So here I have tags associated with the asset model. And I have two tags, wind and project. So kind of correspond here. And if I expand each of these, we have these kind of fields as a template. And so if I create a new an asset here, I call it test, expand it, nothing's in it. If I add project to it, there we go, add the project tag to it, these fields are copied over to this asset here, but it doesn't have this one field here, wind, which is in the wind. So if I added a second tag, wind, you notice wind's added as well. And so it's a composition type approach where you can add as many tags as you want, and it will kind of create that template and compose the asset model. So when that is created, these tags have two kind of main capabilities to them. They have the template, so creating these asset models are used as a template, but they also have a relationship. And so here I have a number of kind of assets with this project tag. And here I have some components that use that project tag, use that relationship. So two things happened here. One, in this project page, I have this test that I just created. A page is created for it, and as well as this template was used for it. I haven't filled in any of the values for it, so that's why these are blank. And then also on this overview, this list component here, this test is added as well. So by adding that tag, that relationship, I'm now adding this test to these different kind of display components. So if I go to the view configuration now to see how this is all set up, we have everything is configured. And so here I have overview, projects, and directory. And the overview is a view, which creates a page. Directory, it's also a view. And if I added let's call it a new page, and let's add a view tag to it. And let's give it a path of new, save that, and refresh on this side. Okay, now I've got this new page showing up, and you'll see here it's got a path of new. And it's that easy to kind of add new pages, kind of build out your navigation, your structure. Jumping into one of the one of the pages and how it's composed, you've got this. So here's the page. It's the overview. It's got this portfolio, which is a card. So if I go back here, it's this piece here, this card. Then inside of that, we've got this list, and it's got a filter for project. So that's where that tag comes in. It's filtering based on this tag project. And so every asset with a project tag gets added to this list. And then if I expand one of these, so here is a list item, and what it's mapping to is the name. So it's the name of the asset of the node. And then just have the width I'm setting and setting the justification. So whether that's to the right or to the left. And so it uses this filter with that tag in order to generate this list. And that's how that gets added. If you notice, I hover over one of these, you get this kind of purple outline of the pencil. If I open it here, you get the same user interface. You can kind of see the same thing and edit directly within the Irys product. Definitely useful, especially if say you're coming here, you want to edit something, you can jump directly to that component. So here I'm jumping to the KPI component, and you can say adjust the mapping, which is mapping to a field. And so that is the kind of basic overview of Irys and what we're building. I did want to add, there's a lot of interesting and very cool kind of capabilities you can add to this approach that we're taking. By having all that context in there, you can kind of dynamically create pages and create content that is very useful, say like drill down type capabilities, which kind of we'll discuss is coming soon, as well as kind of filtering based off, say, field values in order to say show everything that's alarmed. And we can do some very interesting things with what we're building. So from there, I'm going to jump back to presentation. We can always go back and show more of the actual product if we want to highlight particular features or explain some concepts. So demo, just did that. Lonnie, do you want to talk about this?
So we're pretty excited about Irys. Sean and I have been, working on this product, developing the features. So there's been a lot of thought, a lot of discussions with various people. Some of you are here in the room that we've talked to you about Irys, and had you try out some earlier versions. So we're really now at a point where we're in the midst of developing the core product features that are going to be production ready. Some of the stuff that Sean was just showing here around security and Iris frame, and then Iris the dashboarding displays, all that stuff is very, very close to being able to actually be used within a real production environment. Now, that all being said, there's still a lot of details that need to go into a lot of those aspects. You can see, probably if you're looking closely, you can see some things that are rough around the edges, which is just where we are. So that's been my main job, is to go in and do a lot of this refinement and continue to develop the features. So based on the feature list, this is kind of what's happening now and what's going to be happening here in the near future. So we got the Pi connector developed, just finished the first version of last week. Yeah, things are moving quickly. So the Pi connector, it's an installed package. So you just, you get the install executable and you put it on the server that you want to install it. You put it in, it connects to your Pi system via, the normal configuration that you would do, pointing it to whatever server it is. And then it establishes an outbound connection to what we're calling the Irys Hub. So Irys Hub runs up in Azure as a service. And so the Pi connector securely connects to Azure Hub. Azure Hub cannot go down and connect to a connector. So it's only outbound. Hopefully that'll make the security a little easier to manage. And once that's in place, then it just runs as a Windows service. And we've got all the ability to update the install packages as we release newer versions of the connector, trying to make it as painless as possible to update and things like that. So, and like I said, this is all secure. Everything's using OAuth 2.0 technology and end-to-end connections there over HTTPS. The security, it's another big part that's just been added in, as I just mentioned with the connector, but also the security extends out to what you saw in the Sean's demo, is you have to log into the front end, the dashboard part. So end users would log in using their Active Directory credentials, like an SSO scenario. All that's managed through Azure Active Directory. So typically what we're targeting, at least initially, is most enterprises have something set up around Active Directory, and so essentially it just requires a registration of our application within their environment, and then some configuration setting changes within Iris, and then everything will authenticate against the whatever company's Active Directory that the system's for. So all that is in place and working pretty well. So that's something that kind of really is necessary before it can be deployed anywhere. So we've got that out of the way. I think that's probably about it on this slide. Okay, so this is more exciting. Talk about what we have planned. We've got a lot of stuff planned for Iris. One thing I want to mention here, I won't go through all these like individually too much, but I just want to point out that this is a really, to me, this is a really exciting time to be building this. We're trying to we're a small company, 2 people right now. We're probably going to grow here as we get customers and we start getting an install base and we continue to develop this. But the cool thing is that there's just going to be a ton of features that are going to be pouring into Iris over the next several years. This is not a stagnant product. This is not a product. A lot of my frustration around some of the other products that are out there now that have been out there for a long time is that they is just for whatever reason companies stop working on them and they just kind of sit there and it's like wow, I guess business must be great for you to not have to keep working on your products and developing them and adding more features. So here, this is like the way that I would like it to be for any kind of a software product like this is that we're going to, our lives, our focus now is on Iris and developing this software, developing this system. So we're going to be, uh, you know, adding stuff all the time, and it's going to move really quickly early on because there's so much we need to do. And then the order that things get added in and what gets added in is kind of hopefully will be customer driven at some point. We have to get some basic stuff in, obviously, but hopefully that'll be the way that works out. So I'm just really excited about that part of what we're doing. Um, Onto the 1, 2, 3, and 4 here. We have components. You saw a few of them. There's more components that are coming. Mainly, we're going to put in a map component. That's going to be a big one. We're going to add more functionality around KPIs and trends. The navigation. We have a lot of ideas and things that we were going to implement around navigation. So, Sean showed you how the navigation was filtering off of a project, a tag, anything that's tagged with project. We're thinking about a lot more around filtering and searching. Like you could picture like filtering off of dynamic values or doing complex SQL type filtering to create a really interesting dashboards. I'm sure I can't even imagine the way that people might use it. So we're trying to add those kinds of functionalities in there. The drill down, three levels. This is kind of more like we want to have a versatile navigation system. So you saw the navigation on the left. Sean didn't show you the tab navigation, but within each dashboard, you can have tab navigation on the top, which just means you can flip around through multiple items on that, and then being able to hyperlink between items to be able to drill down. So the overall goal initially is you have an enterprise summary dashboard. You click on something, it takes you to the site level, and then from the site level, you click on an asset, it takes you to the asset detail, and then within any of those areas, you can have multiple dashboards. So we're kind of going after that because it's very basic, kind of like commonly done everywhere. Talked about the Pi connector. So we have one of the nice things that we've experienced around the Pi connector is that with the way that we're implementing it, we're using WebSockets and a direct connection. So once a connection is established, it's extremely fast. I'm actually really surprised at how fast it is. We're finding, we're using really kind of like pretty slow hardware on our system right now for testing, but it's still really fast. It's not we're not loading it at all, so I'm sure when we start loading things up, it'll slow down a little bit. But I'm really happy with the performance that we're getting. And then we're doing a lot of things around caching data and just trying to be really mindful of performance from the very beginning because this Iris is designed. We didn't really mention it, but it's designed to run on the phone. It works perfectly well in a mobile type of situation. I found through my initial version of Iris that I wrote for a company at EDF. It's called Orca, and it was like V1 of what Iris now is, the second iteration of that. But at EDF, when the system was developed, very successful, a lot of traction. But when at one point we weren't supporting mobile, went in and redid all the dashboards to be responsive. and adoption went from 20% on the phone to 60%. So 6 out of 10 people accessed are accessing that system with a mobile device. So that's extremely important. More important than I would argue it's like more important than the desktop, because more people are going to be accessing it through their phone. So we've got that covered. Uh, that really talks about usability. Usability is just general. Like, we want this to be an easy product to use. We want it to work well. We want it to be stable and solid. And so we're just really keeping that in mind as we work on all these items. Yeah, and I think that's our last slide, right, Sean?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I'm interested to hear what kind of thoughts everyone has here about this, about what we're doing. And we're kind of getting to a point where we're moving into the um, a lot around components and developing different components and things like that. But I'd be super curious to hear what your guys' thoughts are around what capabilities maybe you see now that you like, but also like what kind of capabilities would you really like to see? Because this is a product that's being developed right now, so anything's possible. All right, so anybody want to jump in?
Well, I'll ask some of the nerd questions.
Cool.
Is the so you have a connector that's basically on premise that forwards the data to the hub, you called it, I think,
Right.
in the Azure. Is the data cached in the hub? I assume it must be for.
Yeah. So the way that it's currently working is the connector is just doing a pretty rudimentary polling of points that are being requested. So once a point's requested, it kind of keeps a registry of it, and then whenever a value changes, it sends it up to the hub. Eventually, we'll use data subscription at the connector level to the Pi system, so that we're not really polling anymore. We're just sending data changes once the initial data has been set up, and then the hub actually captures like all the current snapshot values and holds them, and then as clients request that data, then it just sends it out from the cache. So typically, unless it's a new point that hasn't been recently used or registered, then it typically won't require a round trip back down to the connector, hopefully. And so that's kind of how it works. Kind of like if you're familiar with how Redis works, it's very similar to how Redis works. And we may actually use Redis in the future for this, but it's like an in-memory cache.
Okay, but it's not permanent storage. It's a cache.
Yeah, everything has an expiration date. So once something's not being requested, by any client, then it'll eventually expire and it'll remove it from the list. But otherwise, if it is currently on the list, then it's going to get updates from the connector.
And you said you're using Pi points. Does it only look at Pi tags, or does it also look at AF attributes?
Right now, it's just Pi tags, but there's plans to fully support AF. Attributes, and also like building the model. We have this model that we build in Frame. The reason that we have that and we're not using AF is because that would limit the product too much. If we just stuck to AF, that would basically make it a Pi product, and we wouldn't be able to use it elsewhere. So, but we want to leverage any. The idea is like if a customer has a very robust AF model and they're using AF, we want to basically say, okay, that's where we start. You don't have to worry about the Pi tags, and then we just work directly with AF. So yeah, that'll be coming. It's on the roadmap.
And to add to that, we're data source agnostic. So we're starting with the Pi system. We're open to adding any other kind of data source, other time series databases, other kind of non-time series databases, connections to those, either on-prem or cloud. And we'll just continually kind of build that out as customer requests for them come.
Yeah, that was my next question. So other connectors that SQL, I think, would be an obvious one, but
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, good question, Steve. Thanks.
So I have a question. Like, if you already have existing Pi tags and we get this platform, then do we need to rename those Pi tags according to the naming convention, or like how do we take care of already existing Pi tags and map it to like, for example, the demo that you showed with the side project, and then the attributes within those things. How we gonna deal with the tags that we want to use, which are existing tags, like they have data for last 4 years, 5 years, or something.
Sean, you want to show real quick like how that tag mapping works? Probably just easy to just show it. But yeah, the
Absolutely.
short question is, or the short answer is, yeah, you don't have to do anything with your renaming Pi tags or anything like that. There's a mapping capability that we have that, we call things like active power and wind, but in fact, those map back to like a Pi point. And those are the Pi points that are in your system. You don't have to, do anything with those. Those can remain as they are. And we're also planning on making that as easy as possible around, automating the process of getting all that stuff mapped. Because we know, like, if you have a big system, you're not going to want to go in and build your model, one tag at a time. Nobody wants to do that.
Yeah, and so these are the actual Pi tags we have in our system listed out. And so here it's just taking those Pi tag names. And so whatever, we're not creating anything new, we're just mapping it. So actually quite similar to, say, AF. You have an element, you map attribute in AF to a Pi tag name. Here we call them something different, nodes and fields, but it's the same concept. You map it to the tag name.
Yeah, and one other thing to add here is that one of the next things I'm gonna be working on probably this week is I will be adding a search button. So when you click on that, you'll get a dialog, similar like how it works in the Pi system. You'll get a tag search dialog, and then you'll be able to query those tags. That's just a minimum. It's still not like an address, like you have to do a lot of it, but at least you don't have to know the tag name, right? You can go search for it.
Okay, thanks. Yeah,
you're welcome. Thank you.
Hey guys.
Hey David.
Hello. Will there be any chance to get developer access, say get a connector on a private system, just for non-commercial purposes, test things out, and then maybe be able to show potential clients, what you can do with Irys?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we're deploying one next week. So very helpful for us to have that feedback, to go through the full kind of deployment process like it was a production deployment. And yes, we're very friendly to developers and more than happy to work with anybody interested.
Yeah. Like David, I know you're in the beta program and you've done some early testing for us, which is really awesome. So like if you want to set up the connector against your Pi system, and then we can essentially when we create an instance, we'll create a new instance of Irys that runs independently of our demo version. We have a demo version that Sean's using here against our Pi system and the databases that we have, the database that we had developed for Wind. So the way that it would work is you would, you take your connector, you get a connector with the proper values in there that would then connect up to a different hub, a different Irys hub. We would spin up a new Irys hub for you, and then that would connect to that Irys hub, and then when you access it, you're accessing it kind of through that whole chain, and everything's isolated. But that's how it gets set up. And so, like Sean said, we're going to be doing that next week with one of the beta users. So we're definitely wanting to do that as much as we can right now, because it's just all, the more real life handing it off to somebody and having them install it and try to get it configured and up and running is valuable to us. And then also, we can get good feedback as far as like, what's working or not working. But for sure, we would be happy to do that. And then you can go show all your customers.
That'd be great. Awesome. Yeah. I volunteer Rob Raceman's Pi system.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just curious what you guys, go ahead, Steve.
I'm sorry. Where is everything hosted? the connector obviously is on premise, so it can talk to the Pi system. The
Mhm.
rest of it is in the cloud. Is that an instance that the customer is expected to stand up, or are you hosting it?
Our desire is for us to host it. So unless there's a specific requirement that a customer needs to host it for some reason, we'll host it and we'll maintain it. That way, we're making sure that, all the latest, they're running the latest version, they're getting the updates and all that good stuff. So yeah, we'll basically create the necessary components within the cloud. And so, yeah, the connector is the only real part that needs to be handled by, by the customer to install. And then from there, there'll be a URL that we can, map to whatever domain they would like to call it. And then that's where they point the users to. So everybody just basically logs in then at that point with their credentials, and then they've got access to the system. We also have different levels of access. So if you're an administrator or an engineer and you want to build the stuff and modify it, that's like a user role that you'll have. And then you'd have end users that would just have read only and they can access it that way. So
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to put you on the spot for pricing or anything like that, but I assume this is going to be a subscription service.
yeah, what we're looking at, right, Sean, is we're talking about active monthly users is how we want to approach it. We think that's probably like a good way of going about it. And then we could do like an annual subscription with, a certain number of monthly active users, and then that could be reviewed, annually or however we want to do it. Something along those lines.
Yes, a subscription type.
Okay, thank you.
I did want to know one thing, Sean. You kind of like casually pulled it up, but Sean has been doing an amazing job with documenting everything from the beginning. So maybe could you show them where they could go find the documentation real quick, because I think it's just kind of giving you an idea of how we're approaching this whole project and how we're approaching developing this software. We're really trying to do it in a way that's gonna be maintainable, and I think the documentation is a super.
Absolutely. So if you go to kind of our homepage website, you can get to it from there. There's under Learn, you've got this docs, as well as the webinar will be posted afterwards. And so here we have kind of our documentation. We've got a overview, kind of run through something similar to what we talked about today, talking about Irys and Irys Frame. We got a getting started for folks in the beta program, explaining how to kind of create assets and tag them and make sure you have the appropriate ID and configure Irys. Links to the beta program and viewing Irys and Frame, as well as a list of all of our Pi tags, useful while we don't have the search capabilities. And then there's quite a bit of documentation so far on Irys, on the mapping components, on Frame, how to do some modeling and tag management, as well as an intro to Hub and how Hub works, and kind of deployment. So an overview of deployment, the Pi connector, security, and as we build out the product, I'll continuously be updating this and putting it in the documentation. So we'll have some pretty robust documentation. You can find some very good information there.
Hey, got thumbs up. Yeah. Yeah. So we're not just writing code and throwing it out there. We're yeah, I'm impressed, because it was like, this is something I don't like doing. So thank you, Sean.
That's good.
All right, guys. Any other thoughts or comments? General impressions. I mean, we'd be happy to hear feedback if you have it. If not, that's fine too. But we're, like I said, we're really jazzed. We're excited to be. This is gonna be a fun year. We're gonna be building a lot of stuff. So, be sure to check back. This isn't like this is moving quickly.
This is exciting. I really like the look of this, and I'm excited to see where it'll go.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, same here. One of the things that Sean and I were talking about the other day is, back in the days with OSIsoft, when they were kind of independent of all the vendors for historians, and that was really nice, because you always had this feeling that, okay, hey, we can connect to anything, we can work with anybody's data, and eventually there's 300 connectors and all this stuff, and it was just, and it was kind of like they were able to do their own thing for a long time. Now, the way the Viva has changed a little bit, for better or worse, but it's just not the same. And this is the same feeling that I have with this product, is that the data visualizations are all, to me, they're developed by the individual vertical vendors, and they work with all their stuff, but they don't really like play well with other people's stuff. And then some of them stop working on them, and they're like back from the early 2000s or even earlier, and it's just kind of like, come on, guys. And so this is to me, this is like, it feels a lot more like that, in that we're, hey, we're open for business. We're going to be building this out, and we're going to be, supporting all the modern stuff that's out there. If people are using it and there's a demand for it, we're going to be connecting to it and getting that data and allowing people to, be able to get access to their data, and provide, that visualization front end for their systems, whatever those systems might look like. And so being agnostic like that is a big advantage for us, being small and be able to move quickly and do a lot of feature additions. It's a big advantage for us. So, we may not have all the money or whatever, to hire, hundreds of developers, but that's okay. We're agile, and so we'll do it in a, just, it's going to be different, but it's exciting. I'm really looking forward to this. I think this is something that I've been waiting for somebody to do, and now I'm finally like, say, hey man, Sean and I are going to do it. It's like, okay, fine. So we're rolling up our sleeves, and we're giving it our best shot.
Definitely wanted to echo that point, that very excited for what we're building, and we've got some pretty grand visions, and there's a lot of really cool things we can do. So definitely check back in and follow our progress, and it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, if you're interested in, like what David was talking about, getting something set up, we're super interested in working with people on that. That'll be great. So if you have anything, it's all beta at this point. We're not charging anybody for anything. So we're just, just really looking for people to try it out and give us feedback. So we're at that level. And then, yeah, and then if you're ever like, find somebody that actually like wants to buy this and engage with us in an early way, we're open to talking about doing a pilot of some sort, because it is kind of technically, very close to being usable. I would say, like, within the next couple of weeks, you could actually install this and have end users log into it and start seeing some, basic dashboards. It's got a long ways to go yet, but it is like getting close to being to the point where it's could do some very basic things probably pretty well.